I am not who you think I am. And you are not who you think you are either. My name is Ricky Goodall, and you shouldn't believe anything that I'm going to share with you in this video. Don't take anything that I'm going to say as fact or truth. Rather, just let it inspire you to find a truth that works for you. You are not who you think you are. In fact, this character that you call me, or the character that I call Ricky, this is the character that we've been creating since the time we were born. At some point around that time, somebody gave us a name, and that name became our character. And that character started to determine how we see the world and how we see ourselves. And we started believing the identifications that we've created with that character as who we are. Ricky doesn't like ice cream. That's not true. Who doesn't like ice cream? But maybe at some point in my past, I had a bad experience with ice cream. And so I created the belief that I don't like ice cream. 20 years later, I still believe that I don't like ice cream until maybe someday I'm able to taste it. But if the memory, the old memory of me not liking ice cream is too powerful, it'll actually convince me that I don't like ice cream even if I do. I know that's an interesting analogy, but it works the same with everything in our life. If somebody tells us we're a bad kid, we're smart, we're dumb, we're tall, we're short, we're fat, we're skinny, at those times in our life, we start to believe it and create it as an identification with our character. Up to 75% of our core beliefs are formed in the first 12 years of our lives. That means 75% of the beliefs about who you are as a human being were formed in that time, from 0 to 12. I don't know about you, but that scares me. I had a tough life between the ages of 0 and 12. So for me to identify with the character that I would have been creating at that time and to lead my life from that place, that's dangerous. It's scary. Because up to 95% of our decisions every day are based on those core beliefs. So think about that. Almost every decision you make every day is based on the beliefs that you created in the first 12 years of your life. That's scary. If your parents weren't living a life of happiness, fulfillment, success, bliss, health, and so on, then there is a good chance that you may end up living a similar life because they have programmed you intentionally in some cases and unintentionally in most cases. They programmed you to see life as they see it because they're alive. They got you here. You're alive. You're able to watch this video. So they did a good enough job. I mean, thousands of years ago, just being able to be alive was a miracle in itself. So they did the best they could, but life changes quick nowadays. Our evolution, our society evolves fast. And what was accurate 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago is no longer accurate anymore. And so like an old computer that's never been connected to the internet, if you don't upgrade your software, if you don't upgrade your programming, then you're going to be running on Windows 95 software. And you're going to be trying to exist in a 2019 world or whenever you watch this video. If your programming is not upgraded, if things aren't changed, then you're outdated. And you're going to create suffering for yourself. Because you're going to have desires that are genuine, that are going to lead to happiness for you, but then you're going to have beliefs that don't align with those desires. And it's going to cause dissonance and pain and suffering inside of you. I'm not saying you because it's going to happen to you. I'm saying me because it's happened to me. I know that this stuff is real. I know it happens. I know how we create our own suffering. And it's my passion and my purpose to inspire you to self-actualize into the person that you really are. And that brings me to my next point. I had a very, very powerful experience once in Cusco, Peru. It was my second time in Peru and my 5th ayahuasca ceremony, my shamanic ayahuasca ceremony. I've experienced ayahuasca now 7 times. In this experience, I asked the shamans to give me so much ayahuasca that I'd never have to do it ever again. They gave me this much and they gave most other people about this much. And it was a very powerful dose of ayahuasca and my mind was completely gone. And there was a point in the experience where all reality disappeared. I was no longer this character I call Ricky Goodall. In fact, I didn't have any idea who Ricky Goodall even was. I didn't have a body anymore. I didn't realize there were people in the room with me. I didn't know that I was in Peru. I didn't know anything. I didn't have any thoughts. I didn't have any beliefs. I didn't have memories. Nothing. I was in total, absolute blackness, and I thought I was going to be there forever. I was terrified. And I kept crying, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? What is this? What is this? And there was no answer. No one answered me. No one said anything. Where am I? What is this? Still nothing. Finally, a feminine voice says, "What's wrong?" And I knew instantly that it was Mother Ayahuasca. You can see right here. "What is this? Where am I?" "What's wrong?" she says. "I thought you wanted to know what it's like to be the creator. I thought you wanted to know what it's like to be at the height of your own consciousness," she says. "I thought you wanted to know what it's like to be God." She said, "Don't you recognize at this level of your awareness, you're all there is? There's nothing for you to relate to. There's nothing for you to experience. There's no one out there for you to be part of. There's nothing here. It's just you alone forever." She said, "Don't you recognize that this character you've created as Ricky Goodall is the character you've given yourself to take a vacation away from being this?" She said, "This life you've created is the vacation you've given yourself to get away from your own infinite nature." So don't you recognize the ancient people, they never bow down out of fear of their creator. They bow down out of compassion. "Thank you for this gift. Thank you for this gift of life. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this vacation from infinity." So don't you know the starving kid in Africa and all of the suffering in the world is nothing compared to the infinite loneliness our creator experiences? It was a profound, profound realization. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have compassion or empathy for the suffering in the world or our own suffering, but this helped me recognize that there's a lot more that I don't know about. In fact, these ideas might sound a little bit out there, but they're not really that crazy. In fact, Sir Isaac Newton, the founding father of physics, was a practicing alchemist. The entire system of alchemy is based on this idea. If you've ever heard the term "as above, so below," well, this is the idea. The ancient alchemists and ancient Kabbalists and ancient shamans believe that we are all dreaming this dream we call life, and that we are all playing our own version of a really intricate video game. Sounds like a crazy idea, right? Well, Elon Musk, founder of Tesla, PayPal, and SpaceX, so excited about Sir Isaac Newton here. Elon Musk said there's a 1 in a billion chances we're not living in a simulation. There's a 1 in a billion chances that life is not a hologram and that we're not living in some kind of video game. This is one of the most brilliant men on our planet today, saying that there's a 1 in a billion chances we're not living in a simulation. So what does that mean then? Well, for me, it means that I am the creator of this experience and that I don't know if you're real, so why should you trust that I'm real? Why should you believe that I'm anything other than your own consciousness, projecting into your experience, reminding you of the truth of what you are? How can you ever know? And you can't. There's no way for us to know, except through study and practice and humility and being open to possibilities. There are an infinite number of ways for us to find this truth inside of us. Sure, some religions are powerful and valuable. Some, they don't lead to this realization of truth and freedom. Some spiritual practices can really help, but most of them are written in such code that you have to really learn how to get to the bottom of it and find out what they're really trying to say to you. There's hidden messages in all of these practices, but the truth is out there. Now, there are a few ways that I've been able to integrate this truth into my life, and the first has been reading and studying, and I mean doing this endlessly. I'm always reading or listening to books that are about my own growth, my own evolution, my own happiness. Some of them are spiritual in nature, some of them esoteric, some of them occult, some of them shamanic, most of them are personal development books. Because the most powerful coaches and healers in the world, they get this stuff. They really do. And I came from a lower class family and raised up to where I'm at now to find these things, which tells me that the majority of the lower and middle class, they don't know this stuff. They really don't. It hasn't been passed on to them. But it has been passed on into the upper classes. And we can find this information because there are endless books on it. Trying and trying again has been a fundamental part of my growth and evolution, realizing that I'm not who I think I am, and therefore I'm going to have to do a lot of work to undo the old programming, the old identifications, and the old characteristics of who I used to be in order to self-actualize and wake up to who I really am. And finally, personal and professional support has been detrimental. We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time around. So unless you're spending time around people that talk like I'm talking to you right now, then when you shut this video off, your mind's going to do what it does best. Aristotle says the mind has a mechanism of self-contradiction. So that means like a castle in the sand on a windy day, you might leave this video feeling really pumped up and inspired, but as time goes on, the wind's going to blow and the sand castle in your mind is going to slowly dissolve, and you'll be back at flat sand again as if there was no sand castle there in the first place. Personal and professional support anchors in these beliefs, anchors in these ideas, and keeps us moving forward and building on top of them, building higher sand castles, rather than letting the sand castle dissolve away to nothing. Find a coach, find a shaman, find a healer, find a friend who you can have conversations like this to, and your life will change. If you'd like to hear about my journey and how I got to where I am and the different things that I've studied, I've got a video series in the link below. I give you everything you need. It's totally free. There's no catch. It's going to sign you up to my email newsletter. I send a couple emails a week just to remind you who you are. Check it out in the link below. There's also another link below for my demo album, Star I Am. I've written 5 powerful songs that remind you of this same fact of who you are and what you're here to do based on your own experiences and your own truth. So check those out in the link below if you like as well. It's time to wake up. Our world needs you. Our world needs you to be aligned with your true power so that you can use your purpose and your gifts to make the world a better place. Thanks for watching.